Alex.
All right, dive into it then. Take a big dive.
All right. Where do you want to go first? I mean, there's so many storylines.
Well, I think you wanted to get off your chest your thoughts on the wrestling styles of Kyle Dake and
Okay, hey,
Zahid.
that's probably that's a good appetizer. Dake Zahid. We can probably start with what we think about the match first, and then we can get into the antics afterwards. I think most of us had Zahid, right? Anybody
Yeah.
take Dake on that one?
I had Dake.
Really?
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
honestly, and it's home. I'm being a homer. That's really all it is. He was my
A
favorite
rare
wrestler
miss
growing
from our
a
up.
wrestling
homer?
Quanto look.
How is he a
I,
homer?
well, just because I've been watching him since literally I started wrestling. Like my before I even like wrestled at practice, I remember turning on NCAAs and watching him wrestle. So for me, like he was like my goat. So I was obviously rooting for him. I knew the Zahid match presented challenges. Zahid's really good, really fast. He's massive compared to Dake. I think Dake at 86 is not a good move. I mean, think of how much tougher our team would be if he was at 79.
So
Um,
does he drop for the Olympics?
He can't.
has to, right?
Well,
He can't. He's not going to go at 74 kilos.
he might go down to 74 again.
He doesn't really have a choice. Like,
79?
and where's Brooks going? Is Brooks going
He's going up. He's going 97 kilos. That's
97?
confirmed. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, think of that team, right? 57 would be
Spencer.
Spence, right? 65, that could change. Who knows?
Real McKenna. Yeah, who
Real
knows?
McKenna,
It could
there's a
it
lot of
could be
guys.
it could be
Duke.
Marcus Blaze. It could be
Could
Jax
Duke go
Forrest.
down?
That
Could
that
Duke go
weight,
down
I
that
feel
low?
like
No.
Not to 65s, no.
Yeah, it's like 10 pounds.
I was very, and I'm gonna quick aside. I was actually surprised at the difference in height. I think the tail of the tape as Duke and Giacomo Hollis are coming out. I think they had Yanni at like 5'6", 5'5", somewhere in there, and Duke was like 5'9". I thought they were roughly the same height. I thought Yanni was taller, but he's short. He's got
yeah,
long
he's
limbs.
short. He is short.
Anyways, that said, if Duke's 5'9", I think he's only getting bigger.
Right.
Yeah,
But
true.
I think Dake underestimated the weight. Obviously, he wrestles the heat many times, but being up, that's
Sean already
big.
kind
It's
of said it.
a huge jump.
Sean, what do you think the biggest difference was? What was the main cause for the flip-flop in results with Dake?
From past years of him beating Zahid to now,
Yeah.
size. I think it's size. I mean, Zahid had a way bigger frame to begin with, and he was probably cutting pretty hard back in the day when they were wrestling down at 74. Um, or 79. I don't remember where they were wrestling at.
79.
One of those
79.
two, right? One of those two.
79.
And now going up to 86 with Zahid having that frame, it's just easier for him to put on like actual size. And Dake looked, I mean, we all saw it. He looked tiny to me.
Do you
Uh,
think in any way there is a very material impact on Zahid moving to Stillwater on that match?
I
I
mean,
I
I
do.
think
I think
putting
so.
Zahid and David Taylor together is like a perfect, it's a match made in heaven. They're both similar body types, similar styles, very forward, very offensive, slick. Um, you're putting two of the best together to train. It makes sense.
I think there's many storylines there. Number one, obviously with Zahid wrestling Taylor all those years, and having the humility to be able to now be coached by him, number one. Number two, Taylor's arch nemesis is Dake. So there's that extra added feature to go ahead and beat Dake as well. But we talked about it a little bit after the US Open. I think Zahid has made so many adjustments, was able to get to his low single, was able to, when he was in on his shot, he was able to drop his hips and didn't allow Dake to get to his chest wrap. I think that's a huge technique that Taylor and Zahid worked on for the last, couple months to be able to drop his hips. So I think moving to Stillwater is absolutely a huge reason why Zahid was able to do it. Now, the size difference is huge as well.
The size difference is huge. I saw material adjustments in his wrestling that I thought were actually pretty obvious now that he's moved to Stillwater. Just a lot of little things that kind of added up to the result that happened, but just how he's controlling ties, how he's defending, how he's getting go behinds, shooting off the whistle right away, quick finishes, baseline defense, like just a lot of little adjustments they didn't have. And I would say one of the biggest things I saw is he didn't gas. I think he's living a better lifestyle there, and I think Taylor's got him on some kind of program where maybe he's working with Calavita because Taylor's worked with Calavita quite a bit, and he is pretty world renowned in terms of building endurance. But he's got him on some kind of protocol right now that's really working. He did not gas, and if you think about how he lost to Brooks and lost to Taylor in the past and a couple other people, it's always been like the last 30 seconds, minute where he gave up a lead.
Have you guys been watching some of those behind the scene videos of them where they're just really loose and having fun and playing games?
If you're
And
not already following Stilly Boys on
Yeah.
Instagram, that
they're
is
great.
the best Instagram account.
They're
That is-
great.
Yeah,
Jokes on
you
you, I
love
don't have
that.
Instagram.
You love that, huh, Sean?
I love
You're
that
all
account,
about that.
dude. I love that account because it's cool because we obviously we're fans of wrestling. We watch the wrestling matches, we follow the drama, but it's really cool to see some of these accounts posting more behind the scenes footage like Brian's talking about, and boys just being boys in the back locker room hanging out before their matches, chatting it up, playing games and then going out there and handling business. Like, I think it's good for the sport. I think it shows that you can have a personality in this sport and have fun and still achieve, your goals. And I think that's important, especially for the next generations to see that.
Well, here's what's interesting about what they're doing at Oklahoma State is when you look at what Steeler Boys is and how they've kind of been able to market themselves. They do things essentially. It comes from the same kind of philosophy as Penn State, where it's kind of lighthearted. We're going to train hard, but we're also going to enjoy it. We're going to have fun wrestling. Here's the thing, though. Penn State, a lot of that happens kind of behind closed doors. Like there's not a lot of film or things that come out from what is happening inside their wrestling room. And you see it a little bit more in the past few years. But Oklahoma State's kind of the opposite. They're showing off, man. Like, and what that is like, okay, we essentially can kind of maybe create similar products. You can make an argument that Penn State, already has kind of been doing this for a long time. It's a little more settled. Okay. But where Oklahoma State can kind of beat them is just like, well, we're a little bit younger and we can kind of utilize this kind of branding and marketing in a way that Penn State just doesn't do. Right. So not only is it happening, but you can see it as a fan and as a recruit. It's like, well, why wouldn't I want to go there? It seems like it's going to be a good time regardless of what happens on the mat.
You're starting to see a little bit of that answer because Penn State put out the video a couple days ago of Kale trying to choke out, who was it, Kasich? And so they're starting to figure out the social media stuff of, hey, listen, we're Penn State. We're the top dog. Yeah, we're going to get every recruit in the country. But also, hey, we're losing some recruits along the way. We've got the portal issue that we've had for the last 2 years. Maybe we start showing a little bit of the fun games that we started to play. So I think they were a little bit behind the curve on the social media aspect of it. But yeah, it's fun to watch those guys just be really loose. And I think Zahid was just really, really relaxed and prepared.
I kind of disagree on these takes. I do.
You disagree?
You're Carlo. You definitely disagree with me.
Well, let me ask you one thing.
Carlo,
Are the
so.
Stilly Boys, because I don't do Instagram, so I'm not aware of any of this. Are they affiliated with Oklahoma State anyway, or are they
Yes.
just their own independent people? So it's
Yeah,
propaganda.
I believe it's like a media manager that they have.
Yeah.
that
Okay.
has,
That's
like,
what
a
it sounded like.
separate
It's
account.
propaganda.
Yeah.
They're branding.
Yeah.
Here's my take. I'm going to give you my take. Has Penn State ever hurt for recruits?
No, and that's what I was saying.
No.
No.
They've gotten the blue chip recruits year after year after year. I mean, they got a world champion Ono. They got Blaze. They got Duke. They got the best of the best every year. I think that their recruiting tools results, and I think that's what the best wrestlers only care about. Branding's important. I'm not going to deny it, but their brand is winning championships. I
But
don't
their
think you
brand
need
is taking a big
an
hit.
Instagram account.
Their brand's
Yeah,
I
taking a
don't
big
think so.
hit.
I don't think so.
It's never been about what is happening currently. It's always about the future. And I think until you have those results, you need to have them. Again, I don't disagree with you that the results are important, but you got to have everything else in line too. If you want to have what David Taylor's vision for their program is to have the complete wrestling experience.
I
And
think
he's trying to
whoever is
showcase that.
winning and is on top. It doesn't matter who's running their social media account. As long as they're staying mostly scandal free, they're going to get their guy. And they have to have a good NIL game, which Penn
Mostly?
State has a good NIL game.
Yes, but what is NIL though?
It's not branding. It's just money. It's exchange
It's
of.
branding.
Is it branding?
I
It's
think
Do
business,
we know?
dude.
Do we know the exact dollar amount that Duke is getting or Sorochi got?
Someone
We only know what
knows.
Sorochi said.
Somebody knows.
Do we know what kind of cars they got? I mean,
Aaron Brooks is on
unless
a
they
billboard.
tell us, unless the athlete tells us, Penn State's not flaunting their wealth,
Facts.
and rightly so.
Yeah. But their brand has taken a hit over the last, year. You got a couple guys getting arrested. You got, people talking on a chat board that they're leaving Nittany Lion and going to New York. You got accusations up and down. They've taken a
I
little
think
bit
it's
of
a
a
natural
hit.
consequence of having 10 lions in the same room. I
I
guess
don't,
that's
I don't
that's
disagree
a
with
good
that. Yeah.
analogy because of
I
Penn State
I
Nittany Lions. But
understand. It's hard to not, it's hard to stay perfect. It's hard to stay
yeah, well,
perfect.
you can't have so many alpha males who are number one guys in the same. Eventually, these two guys who could be one and two in the nation, the number two guy's going to go somewhere else. He's going to go to Oklahoma State. So I don't think their brand's taking it. I think they just had their cup runneth over, Brian. They have too much, and
I'll
somebody's
concede
got
to,
to go somewhere.
I'll concede to that. Yeah, I got you.
I also think too that they were never perfect. Like these people are
Dude,
never
next year's going to
perfect.
be insane. They could have 8 finalists next year. Speaking of perfect, I don't mean to derail the conversation, but yeah.
No, you know what I'm saying. I'm saying more like them as people. They're people
Oh
who
yeah, yeah,
people do stuff. It's just, we project this is who they are because
yeah.
of maybe the way that they brand themselves or the way that they represent themselves or way that people place values onto them. And then it's like somebody messes up or does something terrible. And then it's like, oh, you let us down. It's like,
No,
of course,
yeah.
I'm talking about Kyle Snyder, which Sean, I don't know if you want to talk about because you had a take on that.
Hold
I
on.
think is interesting.
We're
but
going everywhere. Are we done with
yeah, we can go
Zahid
onward.
Dake?
We
Let's
can
just
keep
let's
talking
go.
about it.
I
We're
like
done
the
with
flow. I like the freewheeling flow. Let's go right into Kyle Snyder. We'll circle back to Dake Zahid. That's fine.
I like Kyle Snyder. Like I've been a Kyle Snyder fan
You like
for
him?
years.
You like him?
Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone's done some bad things in their past, us included. Where I in our
Not me. I'm
group
a
chat
saint.
wasn't super. Rude has posted some stuff on Twitter leading into Final X that I didn't think was necessarily the right timing for those posts. Like he's been in a little bit of the doghouse, right? So to say, with the wrestling community, and I'm sure his fans and family and all that stuff. And they started posting stuff, about him wrestling from Redemption and this and that. Meanwhile, like I understand he's their sponsored athlete and they didn't drop him, which kudos to them for not doing.
Yeah.
But you're going into Final X to wrestle another American. Like I feel like we could have waited to start hyping Kyle back up until he secured the spot and was going to go wrestle against international competition. That's all. That's it.
I think what they're doing is, for one, they're supporting their athlete, which we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if his sponsors are going to drop him, if they're going to stick with him. You didn't know what was going to happen. I think what I could see them doing that before is because if Kyle Snyder wins, then it's like, well, you're only doing it because he's, going to go wrestle at the World Championships, right? You do it before, it's like, yeah, he's still the high probable favorite, but hey, just going in, like, we still support him. Like we're supporting him on this journey through thick and thin.
They're saying we have his back even before,
before the result. Like we don't even know what's going to happen. Like we still have his back.
You started the conversation off, Sean, with, everybody makes mistakes 100%, and people grow and people learn. In this particular instance, They stuck with him. Their sponsor stuck with him. He performed. He had a dominant 2-match victory over Zilmer. So he's the
Zilmer's no
guy.
slouch.
No, not at all. And what, he beat him 8-0, 8-2.
I think it was 8-2.
Yeah. Um,
We all have it up in front of us. You know the result.
I got.
No,
I have
I
the brackets up, but I haven't opened up the actual match.
8-0 and
I think it was. Let me look.
the first
Yeah,
round one was
hey,
8-0.
don't know. Let me get this up for you guys.
Let me think.
Yeah,
Hey,
it
why-
was 8-0, 8-2. But that's just the research coming into this that has nothing to do. I wasn't looking at my screen.
Let me
but,
do the computations.
8-0,
Exactly.
8-2, yeah.
Hey, AI, can you create a list for us? But no, Snyder looked dominant.
You look good. You look good.
Made
I
another
think Sean's
Olympic
take
world
is
team.
perfect. I want to put that out there.
Thank
I
you.
think he should. I think he should be going on a remorse and accountability tour right now. I don't think it's enough. I don't think we should be putting him back on a pedestal just yet. There needs to be a little bit more mea culpa as of now, and he needs to prove himself. I do. Again, Sean's take was perfect. I do like that his sponsor stuck with him. I think that's the right
I do
way
too.
to handle that as well.
Did
So
you
then
guys
do-
happen to read the comments under that post though?
I did not know.
Yeah, that's where
No.
the juice is. The
If
juice
you
is always
want to
in the
just have a
comments.
good laugh, go to Twitter, or go to X, go to that Rudis post, and just go scrolling for a little bit. And
But is he still the face of Rudis, and is he still the face of USA Wrestling right now? I mean, obviously the only other place winner, Zahid's got a third in the world. Lee's got second in
Silver.
the Olympics. He's got
Silver,
the
yeah.
silver.
I mean,
Uh,
but it's hard to like if you're gonna take him from being the face of Rudis or the face of USA Wrestling, you want to remove him from that pedestal because of what's happened. A lot of these other guys have been through stuff too. Everyone, not everyone's forgotten about Zahid's, cocaine stuff, right? It's not like he's this, perfect pedestal figure. The only one that I can really think of that hasn't really done anything that's been on the senior circuit for a little bit now, not these newer guys, because obviously this world team's really young. But like Spencer Lee, like he's another guy where he relatively hasn't done, or at least known of done.
Plays
anything.
video games and likes Pokemon.
On?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the rest of the team for the worlds is relatively young, and I think that's something we should talk on too. You got Hendrickson making his first world team, Haynes making his first world team,
Barr.
Hidley making his first world team, Woods making his first world team. It's a very young team. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, what's also interesting is how long these young guys will even retain their spot, because right on their heels is Blaze and Jax and Bo and Duke's already in there. Ladarian he'll be coming soon.
Yep.
The heavyweight from Iowa who wrestled
Peter?
Minnesota. Who
Cooter?
was-
Peter?
No. In the
Rayshawn?
state of Iowa.
Drayshawn,
Oh,
Rayshawn. Dude, I think he's
Yeah,
gonna be
he's a stud.
special.
that
I
kid's
think
an
he's gonna be
animal.
special. If
Where's
he
he at?
learns, if he wrestles
He's
for
from-
Siebold, I don't know his
He's
high
from
school.
Iowa, and he's committed to
Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, yeah, and he wrestles for Siebold, but I don't know the high school he wrestles for. But I think his skill set is unique, and his body type is rare, and he's gonna be problems very soon. He's only a junior in high school.
Yeah, but I think he wants to play football too.
I hate
I
that.
heard a rumor that he was like receiving full ride D1 scholarships for football by like 8th grade freshman year.
Beast.
I
Yeah,
mean, when
he's-
you're
he's-
big, strong, and athletic and fast,
Yeah. You ever seen his
you might
like?
go play football.
Have you seen his body structure?
Yeah,
It's like chest
mutant.
back is like it's crazy. It's almost hunchback-ish, but I think it's just muscle. But he's
it's
just
like Starochi.
yeah.
Yeah, he
very
has
similar.
a similar. He looks strong, and he's probably stronger than he looks.
The guy who looked really strong, and we talked about Spencer Lee. Like Luke looked tiny compared to Spencer.
Yeah.
If we're going back to 57s, Spencer Lee looked healthy. He looked big and dominant. Now, Luke's young, but the size difference was massive to me. And the
I thought
experience.
that match was closer than I thought it would be, to be honest.
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
I thought there was going to be more of a blowout. I thought Spencer would have beat him by more.
I think Spencer did what Yanni should have done. I think Spencer wrestled his match and limited mistakes and scored points to win and didn't go out and try and do too much. Because I think
That's
that's exactly what Yanni did. I think Yanni went out and tried to do too much and it bit him in the butt.
In
And
match 2, right?
in match 2,
Yeah.
yes.
well, Spencer. That's how I feel like Spencer normally wrestles,
Exactly.
particularly in freestyle. It's like you're probably not going to push Spencer Lee out. You might get a takedown, but if he ends up getting a go behind or a takedown on you, like he's might get a turn too.
Well, okay, I want to bring up a different angle. The go behind and short offense game of our young athletes is insane. So, as Sean was saying, like Spencer didn't overcommit on offense when he didn't have to. You had a lead, retain your lead, control center, stay in contact, but don't overcommit on offense. And Yanni kind of did that. And PJ Duke has a really good short drag to go behind. And you can see this up and down the lineup. Lilladal's reattack game's insane. Marcus Blaze reattacks game insane. PJ Duke reattack game, go behind, insane. And this is how they bit all the older guys in their matches. That's how PJ got it done, and Marcus gets it done usually.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, the reattacks that's something we focus on a lot just in our room because I mean, it's no secret. Go behind is the number 1 takedown in wrestling, percentagely, right?
On the
So,
defensive side, yeah.
Kind of
Yeah.
varies. Yeah. I mean, it kind of varies.
I don't
every
like
year.
statistics, but yeah, statistics are misleading. But yeah,
you
you're not wrong.
can't deny it. Like if you go
Yeah,
and
you're not
count
wrong.
takedowns at the national tournament or whatever, like go behinds is the number 1.
But
So if you have a
Unless like
good,
Burroughs is wrestling that year, then it was double legs.
yeah, but he's a small fraction of the takedown percentage.
But I'm just saying statistics. I agree with you that it is yeah, it's
I'm
a
not trying to
high
say
percentage.
everyone,
It's a high percentage takedown.
It's
but
an essential
statistically,
skill.
and I'm not trying to say it needs to be your number 1 takedown. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. You need to have a go-to offensive attack. But if you want to be good at a very elite level, you have to have good front head and reattack positions. Like if you're good there, you're going to be successful.
But you also have to add the speed factor into that. You're seeing these go behinds, but the speed of it catches that now offensive to defensive wrestler off guard. And Yanni got caught off guard. PJ was able to circle behind. And as soon as he was like,
Yeah.
where'd you go? Next thing you know, you got a trap arm throwing you over the top for 4. So the speed of Duke to be able to push off that outside leg and circle behind right into the gut or right into a trap arm to be able to elevate that. We saw that in both matches. We saw that in match 2 and in match 3 for him to be able to. Now in match 3, he picks the ankle and puts him on his back. But I think Carlo and Sean, you're right, where that go behind, in addition with the speed and change of direction, is catching some of these older guys off guard for sure.
Wrestling's a cat and mouse game. As soon as one position gets developed and somebody who's a little bit smarter is going to develop another position to counter it. And I'll just kind of add one last thought to this. I think David Taylor is currently probably ahead of most coaches in not giving up go behinds and understanding how to prevent a go behind if you don't get to the legs clean.
I mean,
It's subtle.
That was a big part of his style too. And I think it maybe even comes from Kale a little bit, where it's
Probably,
like champions don't give up go behinds.
Yeah.
It's like don't give up.
But
a
he
go
puts a
behind.
lot of the right emphasis and the right technique and positional reaction when in his training, and you can kind of see it bear out with Zahid.
If you go back and watch match 1 between Yanni and Duke, just match 1, you would never consider that Duke would be able to flip the script after that.
Even match 2.
Yeah,
even halfway
it was
through match
9-2, right? It was 9-2.
Yeah.
At one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there goes the go behind, and the
There goes the
speed
4.
caught off
And a
Yanni.
5.
It was really a 4.
Should have been 5. They gave him 4.
They
It
gave
Was
him,
it? I thought they held up 5.
No,
they did not. They held up 4, but
Yeah.
it was put 5 on the board, and the Matt chairman didn't catch it. But after review, it was a 4. So with that being said, it was kind of like that Hendricks match that we were talking about, that he came back and did it. But he hits the 4, but immediately you see Yanni just be like, I'm done. And then he gets turned again. So there's a 6-point swing. And if Yanni holds and doesn't get turned for 2, now a takedown and maybe a turn, you're right back and you're winning that match too. He put his head down after he gets thrown on his head.
Well, that's what I thought initially. It was like, dude, he has concussion history. Like, you get thrown like that and you land in the right spot. I thought he was concussed at one point. I was like, oh no, dude, like he might be going through something right now in this match.
I was a little
What's up with
disappointed.
Cornell and head injuries? Yanni, freaking Vito,
higher.
Yeah.
Meyer.
Yeah, Shapiro.
They need to get their someone get Gray on the phone. Tell them they all need to start investing into concussion protocol headgear.
Start taking Lions Mane.
Yeah, something. They need to train in those old 1920 football helmets, the leather padding.
So
Yeah,
let's
they all
move.
need to have that.
Let's move to 65s with McKenna and Woods.
Wow.
Now McKenna, I think, with his injury, with his cut in match 1, not match 2 where it went up to the head, but the cut underneath the eye, it gave Real Woods so much time to recover, get into play. And you know me, I'm a Cliff Keen guy, but he looked really, really good. There was no gas tank issue whatsoever for Real because McKenna kept getting, the blood time on his cheek. But Real Woods coming back and winning match 1, and then match 2 was crazy.
Oh, it's nuts.
Brian, did you have real?
I did, but
I did.
well,
I think you might have been the only one.
Yeah.
If you did.
I had McKenna.
I had real
I
in
had
3.
McKenna. You had real?
I
I
had
don't
real,
remember
but
that.
in 3.
yeah.
I don't remember that.
Well, it's recorded, so we'll have to go back and look. But
Yeah,
Sean-
but
no,
we're not
Sean
going
might have
back and
sent it in
looking
the
at it
group
right
text.
No, I wasn't on that episode, but I was with I was at National Duels and we did it on like an app. Me and the coaches there, we did it on like an app.
Yeah,
Again,
no
like-
evidence. No evidence. You didn't say
I'll
it.
find it. I'll find it.
Screenshots, receipts, or it didn't happen.
But I will say,
AI is crazy these days.
Yeah.
I thought that was crazy. And Brian's right. Like when gas take's not a factor for Real, that dude is really good. You can tell physically, like he's super strong. He's super slick,
Explosive.
explosive.
Yeah.
Like that. I think it was like a head pinch that he hit in match 1
Yeah.
out of nowhere. Like that was sick.
you
I
know,
didn't think he was
Well,
gonna
he
get
tried.
that.
He tried doing it before, I think, and couldn't get it. He didn't
Yeah.
get the exposure and had to get his hips back up on
Yeah.
time.
well, that's Dyringer, dude. That is Derringer being able to. That's the truth, though. He's
What'd
the
you
one.
call it?
Dyringer, like the way it's spelt is Dyringer, but it's Derringer. But he goes by Ringer.
A lot of posts about him came after Woods winning, basically saying like Alex is killing it at Cliff Keen as a coach, and he's really developing these guys. And there was a lot of praise for him, which I love to see because he was another guy I grew up watching.
And he's the guy
What a
that
sleeper.
he's able to go up and down. He's able to come down and work with Woods, but at the U.S. Open, he was in the corner, for Kuhn as well.
Yeah.
So he's big enough to be able to work with some of those guys.
Could see him taking a head coach job.
He's a good dude, man, and I think that head pinch is straight out from Ringer. Taught him it, and I don't know. Real Woods looked mean. He
Looked
looked
good.
calm. Again, plenty of time to recover and get ready and have those 30 to 45-second spurts. And McKenna just couldn't keep up. And then I think in match 2, he's a wounded warrior right there, man.
Yeah. And to circle back to what Carlo mentioned earlier about these young guys coming up, a guy that's scrapped with both Real and McKenna multiple times, very extremely close matches, even beaten them a few times, I believe. Aiden Valencia. He's right there with them,
Yeah.
It's
Right
so
there.
weird how he's so much better at freestyle than he is at folk style.
right?
But I mean, I guess he's kind of got the similar skill set to Real, where he's explosive, fast,
Strong.
strong, twitchy. I
Yeah.
mean, it does kind of go to show that freestyle and folk style might have a little bit more separation in terms of skill set than people want to let on, because Real, well, his highest finish was second, three-time All-American maybe. I don't know.
He
Um,
All-Americaned at Stanford just once,
And
twice for Iowa.
Iowa
twice for Iowa.
once, I think. No, he
Iowa
did.
once,
He got second and then like what,
I don't think he
fourth or
placed.
something?
fourth. Yeah,
Yeah.
second, fourth.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Um, but my point is, for a guy who has like middling accolades, and I don't say that out of disrespect. Usually, when you're on the world team, you're like a 2, 3 time national champ, right? So relative to everybody else's accolades, and he's, pretty much burst onto the scene right now and obviously making big leaps. And I think a lot of it's just his skill set.
I mean, I think it's similar to McKenna. How many times did McKenna All-American?
Yeah, I think he was like a 1 or 2 time finalist.
Yeah, I think he was like
Maybe a 4 time All-American.
I put it in the group chat. Stanford's well represented at that weight.
Yeah.
I mean,
So obviously, Real Woods, he's our world team member and he beat McKenna, but I feel like I know he maybe won a tournament or play side a tournament in France, but I don't know. I haven't seen enough to where I feel totally confident that he's a better representative at this weight for us internationally than Joseph McKenna.
I'll give you a different angle. How confident were you that McKenna was going to medal?
I mean, this has always been a really tough weight for the United States. I mean, I think he could be in medal contention, but
He has an
unsure
outside
if he
shot
can.
for top 3, top 5, right?
Yeah,
Outside shot.
yeah.
I would say Real is, if we're being objective as of today, and we don't know what's going to happen, how he develops, for the world tournament. But as of today, Real, objectively before this tournament was, or before Final X, was one step behind McKenna in terms of results and accolades. I would say, who cares? They both have an outside shot of medal. It's going to be relatively the same result. Real might
I
win one less match than McKenna
yeah,
would have.
I think he's one step behind him.
well,
As
he
of
was
before
2
Final
steps
X,
ahead of
maybe not
him
anymore.
in 2 straight
Yeah,
matches.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, he was the
we'll see
better
how he
man on that.
develops.
He was the better man in 2 matches on that day.
Yeah,
How
I
do we
think
think?
international competition is going to have an easier time stopping that head pinch. I think he's going to have a harder time finding points, but so did McKenna. So
He's
we'll
not
see.
going to
I think
get probably a bunch of blood stoppages.
No, but the international guys don't have the best gas tanks either.
Some of them.
Iranians and
Okay.
Indians do.
But those Russians, they take injury time all the time.
Oh yeah.
They'll have a smoke break in between rounds.
I didn't
How do we
realize that was like
feel?
It's
a
hit and
legit
miss.
thing.
Some of the Russians are in phenomenal shape. Sidakov is in phenomenal shape.
Yeah.
I'm not
The
saying
guy
all
who
of them.
beat,
I'm not saying
97
all.
yeah,
kilos.
I'm just saying there have been times where we've experienced international competition not being in the best physical shape.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Musakayev, is notorious for getting
Yeah.
tired.
oh yeah.
How do we feel overall this team does? Do you think we win worlds as a team? Who's our best chance to bring home gold?
Well,
Who's
Russia's still
likely?
banned, right?
I think
Or
so,
no.
yeah, but
I think they're banned. Russia is banned, but you can still compete independently though.
Yeah, are they going to be AIN? Because are we keeping track of that?
I don't
'Cause
know. I don't know when that stops. I before
The team to
like I
beat's
think,
Japan, right?
yeah, they're up there.
Like,
Top.
unfortunately, yeah.
They're the team to beat.
Before we start kind of looking at like overall, I think one of my favorite matches or my favorite match from Final X or matches, I guess, is the 74 kilos Messenbrink and Carr. I think Duke and Yanni was I think the more popular one because it was kind of on paper an upset. But
I
dude,
got one more match that's better, but that was a really good 2 matches.
there's no match that you can't. There's
I know
no
which
match
one
in here
Brian's thinking
that's
about.
better.
You know exactly which one I'm talking about, but hey, we'll stay with
Messenbrink was and Carr, I think, was a legit battle. And it was cool seeing Carr make some adjustments. Really good reattacks and was able to finish. and finished very tight. And I think there was a couple sequences where maybe Carr was able to get to that single leg and bring it up, and Messenbrink even tried to kick out and he couldn't. But both of these were scraps, legit scraps, and both guys were bleeding at different points in the match. Messenbrink had a head wrap. I think later in the second match, Carr's head was getting all cut up on the back, and I think they actually missed it. I think they should have wiped it more or covered it or something the first time. And then I want to say he down blocks or like almost gets a score, and then it reopens, and then okay, yeah, you can clearly see it's all over his head. But man, what a war between these guys, and it kind of just really, I think, adds to, in my opinion, this is probably the best domestic rivalry that we have right now between those guys.
I agree. The U.S. Open, we discussed it afterwards. That match was a lot closer than what people thought it was going to be, and Carr had the lead for a while at the U.S. Open. I think the confidence in Carr was able to, hey, I can hang with this guy, and not only can I hang with him, I can get my shots off on him. And we saw that in match one. You saw Carr being able to, okay, get down and then come back, and that confidence to win that match. I think that led into match two. Match two was super close as well, but Carr had that confidence from U.S. Open. I love how you said that this is the best domestic matchup that we have. They're both relatively young, Mess still in college, and Carr finally finishing. But these guys are warriors, and they're just beating the crap out of each other to make the world team.
And I think they're both world medalist caliber. Like, I think Carr's going to go, and I think he's honestly a finals, you know?
I actually like Carr's skill set internationally a little bit better than Messenbrink. Even if Messenbrink would have beat Carr, I like Carr's skill set internationally a little bit better.
I think Carr's more dynamic in the sense of he's not going to just take you down, but he can turn you too. And I think that's where Messenbrink kind of falls off in that sense for me. Like Carr will get to that leg lace and the match is over.
I think Messenbrink gets a little bit animated, and that's part of what I think what makes him great. But I think that's also can kind of lure him out of position a little bit. His hands come up a little bit. I think sometimes, he can kind of double down, and if he's focused on it, he can get maybe disciplined and be in his position. But I think there are just certain times where, especially when there's a flurry, he gets a little bit excited and comes out position just enough. And Carr really had to get low on those reattacks. And he was even below the knee to get underneath Messenbrink's hands, but there was still an opening, and it happened, I think, twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go back
Carr's
and watch,
adjustments in those matches were, it was subtle. But you can tell they really worked on controlling the hand fight. Really put a lot of time in controlling the hand. I don't know, you guys can see I'll let you guys see the video and make the judgment for yourself. But there was a couple of big adjustments he made, and how to not get bullied and let Messenbrink control the flow of the match as much. And it made all the difference, I thought.
Well, that was the difference at U.S. Open in the second round, in the second period after the break. Messenbrink was able to control those hands and be able to dominate, to be able to drag that across or open it up to his shot. Carr absolutely made the adjustment for Final X, and the hand control was great for Carr.
What I like the most about
Carr is too, with Carlo, we're basically on the same wavelength, the adjustments. So Messenbrink's best shot is that single leg to your right leg. In the matches, you see Messenbrink go to that single. Carr's already down blocking, basically pivoting, and then slipping and reattacking to the trail leg of Messenbrink, and then scores from it. So you can tell, like, there was, and obviously
they knew what was coming.
Prepared, but he executed his game plan and preparation perfectly.
Yeah, I thought one thing that was cool about Carr, and Jordan Burroughs actually mentioned it, and if you go back to the U.S. Open, you could tell Carr was fading, very similar to how he was in the national finals. You could tell he was fading, and it was kind of like a dam bursting almost in that second period. Just the scoreboard reflected that dam bursting. I felt like in both matches at Final X, you could see there's cracks in the dam, but Carr, like, it did not reflect on the scoreboard. Like, Carr continued to wrestle. He stayed in decent position. He tried to stay in the middle as much as possible and continue to control the hand fight and not let Messenbrink take over the match, which if Messenbrink does that all the time, even against wrestling Jordan Burroughs, Messenbrink was trying to take over the match, right? Just with his pressure and his hand fighting. So for me, that was probably most impressive, where he was tired, but he walked back to the center and like didn't show it. But you like he knew he was tired.
Yeah. That's the crazy thing about Messenbrink, because Carr doesn't gas and Burroughs doesn't gas, but he makes the most elite wrestlers still gas. Like you don't think of David Carr as someone who gets tired. Messenbrink can still get him tired. I'm just going to leave one final thought. I really like David Carr in this sense. He had lost to Keegan O'Toole and then came back and beat him. He had lost to Messenbrink and came back and beat him. He is a guy with a big skill set and a high IQ. I like that about him. I think he's gonna do great.
I agree.
All right, Brian, what was the match you wanted to talk about?
Wait, let me guess it.
You say Hidlay and Barr, dude.
It's match number 2 of the heavyweights.
No doubt about it.
That was my guess too.
Just insane.
28 points, right? Or something like that.
Yeah,
30,
I mean,
34 points.
34.
It was insane.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
And that first 4-pointer, to be able to go to the challenge, do whatever, and now you're down 5. Okay, great. And Hendrickson's just like, I got this. But Hilger was he's a beast, and he kept putting the pace to it, and then he was down, and then he was up, and then next thing you know, here's a 5, and really it was a 4, and now you're up 12. I think that was the most insane match of Final X.
If Trent
There's
didn't
definitely a lot of points on the board.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think, everyone knows who Wyatt Hendrickson is now after he beat Gable, obviously. And maybe so many people aren't, as knowledgeable about Trent and his career, but I think he earned a lot of respect from the American fans after those matches, because he freaking scrapped.
I love the photograph after the win and Wyatt's reaching down to pull up Trent, like, hey dude, what a great match. Like,
Yes.
like the respect, the camaraderie between them two. I think that was the most exciting match of the entire Final X on the boys' side. But that was a great match. He dominated in the first match, and then the second match came out, gets taken down, and came back to make the world team. So I really enjoyed that match.
I didn't think it was not entertaining. But for me, it's just, I think that second one, I think Hilger did what he could and scored, obviously, but I feel like Henderson just looked kind of sloppy at certain moments.
Yeah, are you worried about his ability to be competitive at the international level?
Yeah, against the best guys, for sure.
Yeah.
I think he leaves himself open a couple times for a double leg, but I don't know.
Exposures.
Maybe Brian, maybe you and I talk to him when he's at camp and teach him to get a little bit better of his stance to not get double legged, or what?
Hendrickson, can you explain how to not get exposed in this position?
Belly down?
I'm sure David Taylor hasn't taught him a lick.
I'm sure he's not going to just absolutely put his right hand and thump us on top of the head and just be like, shut up. You're a bunch of old washed up guys and I'm a world team member. So
I do worry about his the matchup with like Zaire, the Iranian.
Yeah.
He's got to get a takedown. He's tough on top. He's extremely strong. He's able to lift those hips for the gut wrench, but he's got to get to top.
Well, he just likes to operate from space. Like he has like a middleweight, lightweight style at heavies, which is going to eat up most heavyweights. But a guy like Zaire, who's going to close a gap and not let you breathe, I think it could nullify him. I'm worried about that match for sure.
Well, if he can get to this top position, he's a scoring machine from top. And
he's so strong.
If he can get that trap arm gut, I mean, his regular gut's fine, but if he gets to that trap arm, I don't see anybody in the world stopping his gut wrench going left and then going right.
You think he's bringing back a medal?
I hope.
You had to put money on it.
I think he can make a bronze medal match.
I think he could be one of the top,
That's fair.
top 4 with the 2 bronze, but I hope.
I give him a decent shot at top 5 or 5 through 3rd.
Tied
It's
for
a very
5.
fair shot.
He could be tied for 5.
But you all know it all depends on the pairing and how that gets lined up. if he's got an easier path to get to that semis, maybe he can make a final.
He probably
Um,
doesn't because he doesn't have many international matches. And
yeah, what's he got? The Pan Ams and whatever he's going to do prior to the World Championships,
Here's something
So
else to consider. I'm interested in what the heavyweight bracket looks like because some of the best heavyweights are getting old, and I don't know who's announced retirement and who's not. But if some of the best heavyweights in recent past years don't show up, it could be a wide open bracket, and he can have a couple of easy paths to a medal.
I think he's got the talent on top to turn anybody in the world, and I think he's got his offense is really good. If he can keep for getting exposed from getting a takedown, if he goes on the offense, and he can take anybody down with that little bit of a high C double that he's got, keeps those feet running, and then once he gets on top, he's a turning machine. So
We'll see. If we're missing Petrishvili and Akgul, I like his odds to get a medal. Zara's the only one I know is very likely going to be there.
the one I totally missed up, was Wick. Wick just did not have a good tournament. I thought he'd win it.
I called Haynes.
You right?
Yeah, I
you,
called
you,
Haynes
you
too.
did all you did. I was the only one that had Wick.
I was
And
confident in Haynes too.
he looked flat.
he looked flat. He looked flat, and he
Yeah.
looked like
That kind of sucks.
I don't want to judge and say like the moment got to him, but I just felt like he wasn't wrestling his match at all. It felt like it was Levi dictating everything that happened for 2 matches for 12 minutes.
He made I think some positional adjustments, I think, for that second match. But yeah, I mean, it was like a quick tech, I think. It was like what, less than a minute and a half. We weren't even like
First
halfway
match?
through the first period. Yeah, and he got teched.
It
Just
was
got taken down and
231.
got
231.
Yeah.
But he was also match 3 of the day. So maybe he was still cutting weight. Like, I don't know. He just looked really flat. And take nothing away from Levi. Levi looked good. But I think
Are
Wick
they day before weigh-ins or the day of?
day of. Morning
yeah, I
of.
think they're that morning.
Yeah.
It used to be day before weigh-ins. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Levi got a head outside, and I think he finished like a crackdown position on him.
Yeah, that was one of them. He had a couple high C's, a couple head insides.
I think it was in both matches, right? It was the first one. That's how he got the first takedown. Then he got a gut, and that was it.
Haynes
And the
is,
second
and
one,
again,
same
this is
thing.
another technique breakdown. If anybody out there who's listening wants to study how to do a good crackdown, Haynes has a really good crackdown finish.
And his Turk. He gets to his Turk almost every match. And
Yeah.
it's one of the most like basic techniques, but when you do it at a high level, it's freaking deadly.
Well, Penn State really drills that in all their guys.
On the
Trying to get white
crackdown?
kids to do a Turk, it's like pulling teeth.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you can put a couple scores together. I feel like I say this all the time. Like the best time to turn somebody's off a takedown. Like if you get a takedown and can get a hold, turn them. You're in a really good spot to win the match.
So we'll circle back to what Carlo was talking about. Overall, how many medals do you think we can get?
How many weights are there?
Well, the 57s can Lee medal.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whole medal.
Can Woods medal?
No.
Well, we don't even know who's going to medal between, or who's going to make the team between Vito and Jax.
Right, but you're not
I think
wrong.
We
either
want
of
to
them
address
bring home
that,
the
or we
medal,
want to
though.
skip it.
I think if it's Jax or Vito, I'm confident that we're bringing home hardware.
Hey,
I think
how do you guys feel about the rescheduling?
I think it was
I
good.
love it.
I
I'm a
agree.
fan.
Yeah.
I'm indifferent. I have no opinion.
He's a world champ and he's an NCAA champ. He's got to be healthy, man. You want the best for the team.
Well, not only that, but think of the kids. It's going to be held at Fargo in front of all the next generation of wrestlers in
Yeah.
America. Like
The key.
Here's a devil's advocate take, which I think is stupid.
Are you saying
advocate take-
your
Or
take?
I think was it Orrin or
No, this
Braden
is not my
had-
take. I agree with Sean and I agree with you, Brian. But the devil's advocate, the other side of it is saying you can't control if you're going to be healthy or sick at the World Championship. No duh. But we can control putting our best team on the mat. That's what we want to do. We want to put our best team on the mat. to
Yeah.
bring home the most medals. We can control when they wrestle off. So we should control that. We shouldn't penalize them because the thought process is old school wrestling mentality of you can't control how you're going to feel at the world championship. Like we'll
But
address
you,
that when we get there if we have to. If you're injured or sick, sure, you got to wrestle the world championship.
And it wasn't
Let's
like it
put our
was a
best
couple
guys out there.
days. Like it was a full almost
Whole month.
week and a half to 2 weeks before the send off. So I think they had a full 3 weeks of understanding. Hey, listen, I'm just not going to make it. I'm not healthy enough. It's his
Which is the
spot.
honorable thing because it doesn't force Jackson to a weight cut, which I don't even know if he's cutting that much weight to begin with. But it's honorable to say, hey, don't worry about cutting weight. Let's reschedule this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
I think if anything, it favors Jax. It gives him more time to prepare.
yeah.
True.
More time
That's
to
a good
study.
point. That's
Well,
a good
either
point.
the-
I mean, David Taylor behind the scenes working with Jax. Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know because he's
Yeah.
only a junior, so
He goes.
I don't know if he's at the
He-
RTC there.
I think he goes down there.
And
Yeah,
He
okay.
was representing Cowboy RTC at the US Open.
not
Okay,
that
yeah.
it's gonna make a difference, but Vito just saw his teammate Yanni just get beat out by a high schooler before
Yeah.
Vito was to go and wrestle a high schooler.
Yeah.
So it basically proved, like, going up, leading into this next match between Vito and Jax, it proved that it can happen. Like, I don't think a lot of people thought Yanni was losing those matches, but PJ proved that it can be done, and I think that
I
just adds
mean,
fuel to Jax's fire.
hot take, but I think Yanni's still the better wrestler than PJ. Obviously, the
Yeah.
results don't prove my
agree.
argument,
Anyone
but
disagrees?
I mean, it's monumentous, it's historic, but Yanni's a better wrestler. 9-2? Come on now.
Yeah, but I think props to the people that maybe don't get what they want, but they still stand in the middle and shake hands and let the other guy get their hand raised.
Is this a slight bar?
This is a transition. Yeah, this is a transition. The only way we haven't talked about yet. I was not a fan of that. I understand being emotional and being upset, and I think he kind of opened up on Twitter after. I was like, yeah, I should have done that, but
You owned it.
they did technically shake hands though.
explain technically because he slapped it.
No, I just shook his
There
hand.
was a
It was
hand
right after.
clasping motion, and there was a squeeze.
There was
Was there an up and down?
No, he
Or was it just-
looked back. He did one of those. He looked back.
That's exactly what it was.
Gave him a good old duck
Hands-
flap.
The handeth worth shaketh.
The no look handshake, the look away.
Definitely,
Okay, so
definitely not his best moment, but
I felt bad for the official, dude. The official was like, "Come back." Like at one point, like walked to the side, and she was like, "I guess he's not coming back." Okay, good job. And like raised his hand.
I think
Yeah.
look like
he's a beast, dude. Like
when he gets that underhook, holy crap.
it's insane.
I feel like he's gonna do well on the world stage.
Yeah, I agree.
Well-
His lower body is just so much bigger than anybody else. So whether he's got that underhook to a snatch single or whatever, he's able to get his legs underneath him and lift it. Yeah, he's
Do you think he medals? He's at a non-Olympic weight.
He
Do you
can.
think he medals?
Here's the
So
thing.
far, we only have 3 medals. We only have Spencer, Vito or Jax, and Carr.
Not PJ.
Not PJ.
Not
one's-
Zahid?
I'm gonna guess. Oh, Zahid, yes.
no
4
Zahid.
medals.
I think Zahid medals, and I think Hendricks medals.
Snyder.
That'd be 5.
Snyder too. Yeah, we forgot about that.
Snyder 6.
So we went from 3 to 6. Nice job.
I don't think Haynes medals. I don't think Hidley medals. I don't think Real medals. I don't think PJ medals. I'm kind of on the fence with Hendricks.
Carr. You have Carr on there.
Yeah, I like him to medal. Yeah,
Haynes. Did you say Haynes already? Or you said
I don't
Levi?
think he medals. But he's at a non-Olympic weight, so who knows? Those non-Olympic weights are kind of, I don't know. We've had guys who are in the past less heralded who kind of snuck in there and took medals at non-Olympic weight. So
So if we get 6 out of 10 weights medals,
that's good.
positive is positive.
That's the top 3 performance probably, but not first or second.
Gonna be
I think I
But
think
for a
our
transition year, that's phenomenal. We're in a transition year.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think there's a lot of new guys on the team that are going to get a lot of good experience. It's crazy to think that Kyle Snyder is the vet and he's 29, but he's been on what, like 8 or 9 World
Yeah.
Olympic teams.
Stupid.
Is he the oldest?
He has the most experience, most international
I think he
experience.
is the oldest. Who would be older than him?
Wake? I don't know.
Wick, maybe, and maybe
Well, Wick,
Zahid?
yeah, I mean Wick is technically on the team, but he's not
Is Zahid older?
not the guy.
He could
I don't know.
be.
You guys look it
No.
up.
No, he's not older.
Zahid is like a year younger, I think. They actually might be the same age.
Because he was
Because,
held back.
he might have
is
been a
28
holdback.
years old.
Who is 28?
Zahid.
28. So he's a
He
year younger.
graduated during COVID. Snyder
No.
graduated like what, 2018?
Wait, college?
Zahid, yeah, he graduated college. He lost a year, right? So he beat Hall.
Zahid
then
is
lost-
a year younger than me in school. And he's
In
28.
school.
I'm
in
29.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not in age.
He's a year younger than me in age too. He's 28.
Okay.
And Snyder's 29.
Okay. So I can't think of anybody who's older than 29 looking at this.
But if you look at the women's side, Mary,
Maru
how old
is.
is how old is Helen?
I
You're
don't know
not
what,
supposed to ask that. You're not supposed to ask that. But
what she is. This her 14th?
Stop it, Brian. Stop white knighting. Ask it.
I think it's her 14th
Helen's
Olympic and world
33.
team. Helen's 33.
Yeah.
And did you
It's
see
not
the
that bad.
Did you see the post where she was just going to walk away and
Yes.
she was going to focus on her BJJ, and
Yeah.
next thing you know, she's like, I got this talk.
Hasn't she said she's gonna walk away 2-3 times now though?
She
I'm
didn't.
out.
And she said that she was just kind of walking and in New York and got a message from God, and immediately the next day she moved to Arizona and just started working, made another world team. Good for her.
No, she's
Good
a
for
beast.
her.
She's a beast.
Immensely talented. I
Yeah.
like her offensive flow.
While we're on the topic of the women's, how do we feel about two things? One, what's going on with Amit Allure, and two, how Skylar Grote didn't get an opportunity to represent in the finals. She still got to wrestle the true third match, but
These are the questions.
I don't think
I don't have
that-
answers to that, so I have no comment.
I don't think they should have moved him up. I think her being able to come up from the true third to the finals, I don't. She didn't earn that spot. It's unfortunate that Amit didn't be able to make it. Whether that was the physical health or the mental health or whatever's going on with her, I know she's running some camps, and she went overseas to kind of do a little bit of marketing stuff. But no, I don't believe they should have moved her up from true third to the finals. She didn't make that spot.
We don't
Yeah.
have any idea what's going on with the meet, whether it's
She-
mental or physical health.
She
She
posted
posted-
something. I'm trying to go back and look at the post, but she changed the description of the post. But she was talking about why.
she had originally, I believe, stated that she found out that she's anemic.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard that.
But
So,
other
which
than
means that she's having some sort of health issue. I wonder if it's a heart palpitation.
It makes you
because of the-
lethargic if you're
Mhm.
anemic. It
Yes.
gives you like no energy. Your legs
Mhm.
get heavy.
Yeah.
It's
That
probably hard to
sucks.
cut weight too. And I imagine she's a weight cutter.
No, she's up because she was.
Oh,
she
yeah.
was- remember, she was at 65 or 67 kilos, whatever it is for women.
She's a
She went
72s.
up.
Mhm.
Because Kennedy Blades came down and she went up, so that they weren't going to be paired up. With
I think
each
that's going to affect her style too, because she's not leg attack centric. She's control the center, push you around with underhooks and 2-on-1s, get
Yep.
snap downs and go behinds, get push outs. So if she's giving up some size and strength and she's low energy, that's going to have a huge impact on her performance.
Right. And I mean, she won at women's nationals in the finals against Skylar Grote in a close, like, I think
Yeah.
it was 2-1
I saw
or
the
3-1
match.
match, but it was all
Boring.
shot points and
I
shot
think she had to
clock
go
violation.
behind at the end, right?
No, she didn't have a single takedown. It was all, I think, push outs and shot clock points.
But how much? How
There we
much of that?
go.
how much of that is the health issue? You know,
That's what I'm saying. I
if
think
she's
that
completely anemic and now her doctor just says, hey, listen, we're gonna need to take this one off. We got to get you right. We got to get your, you know, they do the it's kind of like a transfusion, but it's not a blood transfusion. You know, they give you the iron. It's an iron transfusion to get the anemia up, to get the blood and the iron up. So maybe that she needed that, and let's get healthy, gets a couple other tests. She's too young to be able to push and put that pressure on her. Hey, I got to go back on the world team.
She's 21.
I don't think so.
23, I think, right?
I'll tell
Is
you right
she?
now.
I think she's
I
23.
thought
I
she was
thought she
younger.
was younger than that.
21.
I thought she was like 20.
Yeah.
How
So
old is
she was 21.
Yeah.
Oh,
21.
she is 21?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's young. And I mean, if she's planning on doing the Helen route where she's doing this until she's 33, which I hope she does because she's amazing, she's phenomenal. You know, missing one world championship isn't gonna hurt.
Yeah. And you saw that with Helen when she had her concussion stuff. You know, she kind of stepped away for a couple years, missed a couple world teams. Well, missed a couple international tournaments, but good for Glade. Good for Glade to be able to represent our country. Bummer that she wasn't able to win it on her own in Final X, but her moving forward, go see what you can do internationally.
I think the dynamics of girl wrestling is very interesting. I think because it's exploding right now in growth, you're going to see a lot of young girls. Because here's the weird thing about girls wrestling. For boys in CIF, we didn't have our first four-time state champ till Daryl Vasquez, like in '02. It took a while, right? But girls in this budding sport have access to phenomenal workout partners if they choose to wrestle with the boys and phenomenal coaching. So they're jumping into a situation that's so much more advanced to where the boys were as we're developing internationally. And I think, and you're seeing this, a lot of young girls catching veterans faster than the boys are, faster than the Blaze and the PJ Dukes. You're seeing it. And so I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these girls on the international team get sniped here soon.
Yeah, I mean, especially too, like if you look at the way things are changing, even at the collegiate level too, like you know, Iowa and North Central, and there's more programs you see investing time and resources and coaching into the women's side, and I think it directly kind of translates to success on you know, the freestyle circuit as well. So it's, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think it's really cool. And whenever I think about it, it's I don't know. For me, it's become maybe more personal just because when Emma and I talk about having kids, like she really wants to have a daughter. And it's something that, you know, for me, I think like, okay, like obviously I want my kids to wrestle, but I want them to have similar opportunities or, you know, try to be able to be in a position where they can have the similar experiences and get the same thing out of wrestling that I did. So it's, I don't know, it's cool. It's cool to see, and I'm excited. I'm excited too for to talk to Jakara Winchester at camp. She kind of went through some adversity a little bit at you know, Final Expo. Was able to come back and get the tech in that third match. I thought was pretty sick.
Yeah, that first match of hers was a little bit close, and then came back. Yeah, she's a beast too. Um, she knows how to put on a show. Who did Miracle lose to?
She lost to Adago.
Adago.
Yeah, wait, is that the one that went to 3 rounds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a couple Winchester, Helen, yeah, Miracle being, you know, an old vet of the national team, taking a loss. Carlo, I think you hit that
Adago looked
right.
like a beast.
Blades is tough, man.
Blaze is a savage.
She's got the presence and is
The
able
name
to.
too, dude.
Yeah. She can throw you from anywhere. Just that soup is she's quick, strong, and can absolutely put the hammer down.
Yeah. And she's huge for 68 kilos. I mean, when I was standing next to her at the US Open, I mean, I'm not a tall individual, but she's towering over me. She's huge.
Wow. Sean, are you, I don't mean to height shame you. What are you like 5'9", 5'10",
5'8", 5'9",
5'8"?
on a good day.
Okay, so she's like what, 5'11" maybe?
Yeah, at least 5'10", 5'11".
Wow,
For
that's rare.
68 kilos. It's pretty.
Yeah, for 74 kilos even, that's tall.
Yeah. She's
Yeah, it's a lot of height.
she's bringing back gold for sure.
For sure.
I don't see her losing.
Burrito bet.
I'll make a burrito bet on that.
Okay, I'm due for one, man. I don't think I've won one
You're
in a
not due for a
while.
burrito bet. You're due for an iPhone bet.
Yeah, let's go.
Here we go.
Let me ask my Samsung AI. Samsung AI. What would it take for me to get an iPhone?
Nothing.
It
See,
says
look.
not to do it.
Yeah, no.
Broken. It's broken.
I haven't activated it yet.
Before I got to ask this question, and we're kind of backtracking a little bit, but I thought it was a fun one. If you had to take the over under on, let's say 2.5 years until Penn State loses a national title to another team, would you take the over or the under?
Over.
100% over. They still have Lilladall. They still have Blaze. They still have
Blaze.
Duke.
I'll take the
Ono could have like
They might
I
have
think-
Ono.
I'll take the under
They still have Barr.
I kind of lean towards the under too.
because the portal is the portal, and I think Iowa's had a really. You okay over there, Brian?
this is my. Are you guys crazy?
Hey, this could be our iPhone bet.
No, the iPhone bet is dude. You just need to
If for me to make this bet, there has to be something where because I love my I like my phone a lot. Like there has to be something where okay, for me to go out and buy a dang iPhone or maybe get a trade in and go get like value on iPhone, there would have to be something significant that I would get in return for the bet to be fair.
How about you carry two phones, one for our group chat and one for your own personal stuff? You know, put it on the business account, put it on the Simple Man Wrestling podcast, and it's a write off for you, dude.
If you guys have an old iPhone,
I do.
I'll connect it to internet, and we'll have like some kind of messaging app or something like that, and we'll use that.
No, we just want you to actually face the fact that you're the outsider.
As long as you can turn your text blue and make your posts in the text group a lot more media friendly, that's all I care about.
I agree.
I'm gonna like and heart and whatever all your messages, and it's just gonna say Brian Batista liked this.
I hope you do.
I'm telling you, if we get three people on the podcast, if we can get three people, if we get Brands, we get Woods and Hendrickson on the podcast, you got to buy an iPhone.
No,
that's not realistic.
Deal.
No, there's no deal. There's no deal.
All right,
I think
so.
Those guests are realistic, anyways. It's not like it's like a big risk.
Pause. I'm moving past the iPhone deal. I want to talk about this, and I'm going to go. How does Penn State lose in 2.5 years, in less than 2.5 years?
I think Iowa had a great recruiting year.
It's not Iowa. No way.
I think
it's Oklahoma State for me.
Yeah, if it's anybody.
I think they're
not in 2.5 years.
I think they're on a trajectory that's going to be really hard to stop, and it might be 2.5 years.
Vega, Drayshawn.
If there's a team that's going to
and
dethrone Penn State, it's going to be Oklahoma State. It's going to be David Taylor.
I agree with that. If a team is going to beat them, I think Nebraska is doing a great job. I think they get second this year.
Yeah, we talked about that.
They beat Oklahoma State. I don't think they lose to Oklahoma State. So it's like, okay,
we'll see. It'll be
that's
close.
1 year. That's 1 year. And then there's another year or two, give or take. In your mind,
so
Sean?
in 2 years, which is when Sean's timeline is, right? Because he set the bar at 2.5. It'd have to be in 2 years. It'd have to be 07 or 27. Sorry. That puts Vega at either a sophomore or redshirt freshman. That puts Jax as a true freshman. That puts Drayshawn as a true freshman. That puts the brothers as redshirt freshmen. Are they graduated?
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's do a parallel. If we're looking, Kale's guy was David Taylor that changed everything. Is Jax Taylor's guy, or is Bo
Could
Bassett
be.
Brands' guy?
I personally think Bo Bassett has a lower ceiling coming into Division One than Jax, a much lower ceiling.
Okay, I can't
I think he has
agree
a
or
lower
disagree.
ceiling than some of the guys who are coming in for Oklahoma State. I think Vega can do just as good as Bo Bassett. I think the Rainey brothers can do just as good as Bo Bassett.
Yeah.
Bo Bassett wins on incredible work ethic, being a little bit older. I'm not going to say age bullying, but it does, like being a little bit more mature does play a factor in high school. And intensity. A lot of those factors are going to get negated in college. So he's got to build skill. And I think physically, I do think any body type can win. But I do think Jax and Vega and the Rainies have a body type that can be more dangerous and have more options.
Here's my final thoughts on this. I think with the guys that they have coming in, I think it's going to take time. Granted, they have a great coaching staff that I think has proven development. They have Kevin Ward, they have Lee Roper, Darren Caldwell. I think is there.
Great staff. What
He
a great
hasn't been
staff.
long enough yet to where I think he can really prove as a developer, but still, I think he's going to be he is a good coach. I think he's going to be a better coach. Yeah, David Taylor, who and all these guys I think wrestle with the guys still to some capacity. I think you have a lot of really good coaches in place. I still think it's going to take longer than 2 years, Sean. I don't think it's going to be immediate. But
I agree.
granted, this group of guys, by the time they're juniors and seniors, coupled in with future recruiting classes that are maybe going to be freshmen and sophomores, I think that's when you're going to have your best opportunity to have success. I think some of these RTC guys are still going to be in the mix, so you're still going to have proximity with them as training partners. I think that's probably going to be their best bet, but I think it's after 2 years.
If you set the bar at 3.5 to 4.5 years, somewhere in there in that range, that's more intriguing.
Yeah. So are we doing burrito bet, Sean, at 2.5?
I'm taking the under.
I thought we had a different burrito bet. I thought
The
it was
under.
Blades to win.
Yeah, but
What was
explain
that one?
explain 2.5. Are we talking 2 seasons? Or are we talking 2.5? I mean,
No,
I understand
2.5, 2.5.
I understand the
because
betting.
it's-
I get that.
Okay.
2 versus 3, but so we're counting 26 and 27.
Yeah.
We're counting this
So
next year
somebody-
and the year after.
So you think someone's got to win before 28?
Yes.
Is
that's
that
what he's saying.
technically a third
Within the
year?
next
Is that
2
what you're going
years,
with?
someone has to
Yeah.
dethrone Penn State in the next 2
Yeah.
seasons.
Then I'd
That's
take
not happening.
then I'd take the over because I think it's going to be
Yeah.
3 years.
I think if you went 4.5, it starts to get a lot more interesting.
I think Penn
State
I
State.
think
still
if
has
you do,
2
I think if you
years,
do
Van
20
Ness
and a
still
half,
has 2
I think if you do
years.
20 and a half, that's probably going to be really interesting. The next 20 and a
Well, of
half
course.
years.
Well, of
Shut
course.
up.
You got old man Kale who can't even walk anymore.
Who
Coaching.
where do you guys think because I was just reading on it before we got on, where do you think Melvin Miller commits to? Does he go with his
Well, we know it's top 9.
we saw his top 9, but I think
Oklahoma State.
realistically- So you think he
Really?
doesn't go with Bo?
Michigan.
I think he goes with Bo.
I think he goes with Bo. I think he goes to
Maybe.
Iowa.
Well, if he does, then there's another. That's that 2.5 years that you're talking about. Mm.
But it's not going to be 2 national champions to beat Penn State. You're going to need a lot. You're going to need a lot of firepower.
Mirasola.
He'll be a 74
versus-
pounder.
yeah.
Who does Iowa have coming in at 74s?
I don't think.
Well, Melvin's going to be a junior, right?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
still has 2 more years.
I
of high
don't.
school.
My knowledge of the
They have
junior
Gabe.
class is not that deep.
They have Gabe, and they
Is he
have
still going to be there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a redshirt freshman this last season.
Well, I think they separate those two, right? You think that
They have
You would think
Ferrari.
that
You think
Arnold
Ferrari-
might not even be there.
Ferrari and Arnold are probably one of them is going to go up.
Is it 97s?
Is
Yeah.
Kennedy still wrestling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be
This is
gone
last
though.
year.
He'll be gone
be
by
gone.
the time.
He'll be gone.
Melvin Miller
Let
gets
me
there.
let me ask you this because it's on my mind. If let's say this shakes out and Arnold is out of the lineup, does he leave?
I probably, yeah.
Depends if he burns a redshirt year.
I think if he's gonna leave, it would be better for him to leave. Like, well, it's too late.
Because he already burnt his
He's
red
not,
shirt.
he's not in the portal.
That doesn't
No,
mean
he didn't
it's
burn. He
late,
didn't burn his
though.
red
I
shirt.
think he could still leave.
He
Yeah.
used his red
He
shirt.
didn't burn his red shirt. I thought he red
He used
shirted.
his red. No, he
No, this year was his
He-
red shirt, right?
he used his red shirt.
Yeah.
He didn't burn it.
Yeah.
Right.
What are we talking about?
Burning your red shirt is like what happened with Miguel. Like your red shirt.
Oh, yeah,
and then
yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I misspoke.
What I'm saying
He's
is that
red
he would have that extra year of eligibility as opposed to Miguel not having that eligibility.
Yeah.
That one other year.
yeah, Miguel can still redshirt if he wanted to, but
He can, but he's already lost that 1 year eligibility.
right. Well, Arnold, yeah.
Can be interesting.
I don't know. Portal changes things. And now with the revenue sharing, I saw what Iowa State's getting $1 million from their revenue sharing.
To disperse it amongst their athletes.
Yeah. So wrestling's getting $1 million.
That's nice.
so-
I can't wait for them to put restrictions on NIL.
Well,
It needs it so bad.
we just saw a court case that came down where NCAA ruled in favor of these guys getting paid, these athletes, women too. So that came down with the Supreme Court last week. So who knows? But the portal is definitely an option. And I say Iowa beats Penn State in 2 years. I'll take the under.
What a bet.
I-
Can I get a
That's
piece of that
actually
action?
crazy.
I'll take
That's
it.
actually crazy.
I'll
I'll
take
take a
it.
piece of that.
Well,
Brian,
you guys are
give
all
me the whole
talking.
enchilada.
There's got to be
I'll take
somebody
that.
who goes against you guys.
I mean,
are we
You're
burrito
not-
betting?
You're not betting any burritos though.
Yeah, I'll bet a burrito.
For
I'll
all
bet-
of
I'm
us.
in.
Let's
and
go.
then you get 3 burritos.
Well, I'm not like I can't eat 3 burritos. That's the truth.
deal.
So,
right.
yo, a
Take me to church, Brian.
timestamp this right now. Timestamp it.
All
I'll
right.
take it. I'll spend $30 to.
John,
to
will
do
you
it.
take 3.5 years?
3.5.
Me?
I'll
The
take
under
the,
on 3.5?
I'll take the under on 3.5.
All right.
All right,
I
I'll
bet
take the
that.
over. All
I
right.
bet that over.
Me and Brian. All right.
Yeah, we
Sean,
need Penn State to win 26, 27.
you have till 2028
Yeah.
for Penn State to lose.
No, yeah.
That's definitely happening.
To anybody, to the field, not Iowa.
To the field.
And I don't think it's Iowa. I think it's Oklahoma State. I don't think it's Iowa.
It's Oklahoma State. It's Oklahoma State. Unless
think-
Michigan
Dude, watch-
buys an
wait.
entire all-star team.
Hey,
Carly,
that's been done
haven't-
before.
Carla, you haven't been very good with college betting
Dude, I am
recently.
so there in betting parlance, it's called the cooler. And I've dubbed myself the cooler for I don't know how long. I can
Dude,
just walk
watch-
by and just tap you on the shoulder, whatever.
You're in the
throwing out your
Arctic,
apps.
man. You're not in a
You crap
cooler.
out.
Watch Penn State just fall apart over the summer.
Dude, there's gonna be so many scandals.
And
There's gonna be so
Iowa
many
wins
drunken
next.
shenanigans.
Iowa wins this year, and then Oklahoma State wins.
Ono's
next.
I'm
gonna
gonna-
get addicted to drugs. Blaze is gonna get some kind of I don't want to say, but yeah, it's gonna be nuclear fallout.
There goes any recruit
Unfortunately,
from
I've-
you guys going to Penn State.
Dude, I would gladly give Sean a burrito just for some crazy drama to unfold, as long as nobody gets
Yeah.
hurt.
I mean, because it's unpredictable.
Fun.
All right, guys. Any final thoughts?
No,
That's a good spot to end right here.
All right.
Glad we got on.
All
We
right,
got
there
some
you guys.
awesome guests coming up. Brian, do you want to name drop or do you want to make it suspenseful?
Well, I'll tell you. This is who I have dates for. I'm having Nick Perler on soon. This weekend. I don't know when I'm going to post this, but yeah, this weekend. And then Claw Wrestling. Going to have them on as well. I'm excited to kind of pick their brain. They kind of I think are doing that. Looking at some different ideas for how to kind of market the sport and some rule changes that I thought were interesting,
And
including
the
like
draft.
having a pylon outside the circle. I thought was pretty interesting. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Just had Jimmy Overizer on, who's super cool. He's kind of been a guy that's kind of been climbing the coaching ranks, and he's taking over a program that's transitioning from D2 to D1. So I'm excited to share that with you guys soon. So and if you haven't bought a t-shirt, Simple Man Wrestling t-shirts are live. Get a Simple Man Wrestling t-shirt. It's great. It's comfortable. They're going to be cool. I'm excited to share that with you guys. And then also, if you are maybe busy, you're a coach or an athlete, and you spend a lot of time out of your home, and you just want to come home and just make something simple and easy, you can click on the link in our link tree, and you can get up to 10 free meals for HelloFresh. So if you enjoy that HelloFresh and want just simple instructions, and again, to keep things simple and easy, you click on that link, and it would be a good way to support the podcast.
Let's go.
All right.
Shout
that's
out,
it.
man.
It's
It's
out.
almost
Day
sound
by
like a
day,
legit
Simple Man
podcast
wrestling by
now.
night.
No Simple Man, no freeze. Shout out Simple Man.
Hey,
Shirts
Jamie,
forever.
pull up the outro music, please.
Yeah.
I can't. It's going to get taken down from YouTube. I did think about this, though, because, I think myself as a little bit of a singer-songwriter. My rapper is my backup career if teaching doesn't work out. But I thought about learning how to play Simple Man on guitar and then singing it and have that be the intro music. But then I thought, nah, it's kind of not really my style.
That would be awkward.
Sean, you okay, buddy?
Fucking die.
Don't die. Don't die.
Learn a kazoo, Brian. Or spoken
The
word
problem
poetry.
is, I know Brian's not joking. Like that.
Yeah, I know. No,
Serious.
he's not. He's
very
not joking.
serious.
He's gonna
Yes.
rap it. He's gonna rap
Not a
the
part of his
intro.
charm.
This is real.
Yeah.
I say something like half serious, half kidding, but there's like an element of, if you think it's a good idea, I'm going to do it.
Dude,
Do it.
reach out, send a message to them, and see if they'll just give us royalty free to play their music.
Leonard Skinnard, if you're watching this,
Well, those are who are still alive.
is Leonard or Skinnard still alive?
Let's
All right.
All right, guys.